Amazing. What profound facts right there. It is so important that we protect our senses. And of course, speaking about that, it is very important that we give you a lot of information that pertains to your hearing. And of course, if you know someone or if you are suffering from hearing loss and you just don't know what to do, there is a solution in sight. Before Richard comes on to give us a lot of that information, take a look.
My name is Richard Mwangi. I'm the director of the Incasia Hearing and Balance Center. Basically, what we do here is assessing hearing loss and fitting of the hearing aids. I started as a pharmacist, but later on I got interested in the hearing healthcare. When you're studying pharmacy, you're studying, drugs and their action and their long-term effects into the human beings. So there's a few drugs that led me to get into this because of their side effects to the human being. We commonly call them ototoxic medication. Ototoxic medicine basically means that this medication harms the hearing nerve. And through that, I got interested to study more of them and the effects and the, what you may call the long-term effects of these drugs. One thing is that hearing loss is so hidden, and no one will realize that you have it from outside by the looks. So once you find that people who are surrounding you, they are complaining, or rather when you find that when listening to a television, you're putting the volume that the members of the family are complaining, you'll have to seek some help. There's different things that can cause a hearing problem. First, it can be just a wax blockage that is inside the ear. Secondly is that, there is even an insect that is inside the ear that is blocking the sound go through the ear. Hearing aids are like glasses. Not unless you know how bad the hearing loss is, that's the time you can be able to discuss the price. But we have an average prices of the hearing aids. Most of the hearing aids that you are dealing with here, they are pure digital hearing aids. So in actual sense, you cannot be able to say this will cost this before seeing the hearing loss. The hearing loss is the most determinant factor in telling the cost of the hearing. Hearing loss is still stigmatized very much. I mean, people with the hearing loss, they don't want to seek help because to an extent, you'll find that people say that, hearing loss is more or less of a disability, and you don't want to be seen maybe wearing a hearing aid that you're, senile or disabled. So basically the stigma associated with the hearing and hearing aids is one of the commonest things. But, nowadays what you are having in the market is something that quite cosmetic appealing, that this trying to finish up the stigma that has been associated with the hearing aids for years. People don't know where to seek help from. You'll find that there's a myth that goes outside there that when you have a hearing loss, it's close to days to your maker, but that's not the truth. What we usually say is that the hearing loss can be treated and you can live a normal life. The hearing aids are coming to different technologies. There's digital and there's analog. Analog, of course, is old technology, and digital is a new technology. Now, analog hearing aids, they do the amplification of the sound. mass amplification, or what you may call pure amplification of the sound. All the sound will be amplified at the same level. Hearing loss is not a straight line. In fact, it's a graph which may vary from high to low frequencies. These hearing aids, analog, they cannot be programmed according to the graph of the test that has been done. But digital hearing aids can be programmed. The beauty about digital hearing aids, or the latest technology we have, the hearing aids, they are compatible with so many listening devices. They are compatible with Bluetooth connectivity. In fact, you can even connect your hearing aids to the car stereo, depending that the car stereo is Bluetooth enabled. Another thing is that you can control them using your phone. That means if you go to a loud place, you can always regulate the sounds that you want to hear, the sounds that they are loud, you can reduce them. The flexibility, the user flexibility of digital hearing aids is quite advanced.
Richard is an interesting man indeed, and he was also featured with the top 40 under 40 award last year. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Great, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Very interesting what we've just heard there. We'll get right into it, but let's start from this beautiful award. Ta-da! There it is, guys. Take a look. Okay, so you won this award last year.
Yes, I did.
I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So tell me a little bit about being featured with this when you first heard that you were nominated for the top 40 under 40, the Business Daily Award.
Basically, I'm not aware of who nominated me on this, because it's always not very sure who did it.
Yeah.
But must be somebody who I did a very good job, or a group of people I did a very good job onto them. But what we did sometimes last year, we engaged ourselves into more or less of corporate social responsibility. We did visit several homes for the elderly, and one of the homes is in Kasarani, where we did some cleaning, fitting hearing aids, and all the hearing aid healthcare pertains. Mm-hmm. So after that, come sometimes late in the year, that's 2015, I found myself on newspapers.
Amazing.
Having vetted for top 40. I was not aware of it. It caught me by surprise.
All right.
But I was just driving to work, got a business day, just checking who made it. Voila, and I was there.
You were there.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You started out in the pharmaceutical industry and now are fully fledged in hearing healthcare. Tell us a little bit about that transition. Why?
Yes, I did. I started in the pharmaceutical industry. And, in pharmaceutical industry, you learn so many things, pertaining the drug and the drug interaction to human beings. So one of the things that made me get interested into it is there's a group of medication, they have side effects on use to the body. They are called ototoxic. That basically means they harm the hearing nerve. So from there, I got interested into the topic, and through the process, I shifted slowly by slowly to getting to the hearing healthcare. Now, the hearing healthcare to date, it has really changed to more level of technological know-how. We're using the hearing aids to use them to benefit the client who has got a hearing problem. And to do this, you have to have the digital hearing aids, which are programmable, which you can use to help the client on terms of the hearing. And that means you have to get to know how good the programming or the software you use into dealing with the hearing loss.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, of course, talking about hearing loss and talking about what the causes are, it varies from individual to individual. Tell us a little bit about, of course, where we are in Kenya when it comes to hearing loss and what some of the major causes are.
See, hearing loss has over a good period of time stigmatized. You see, that means when you have a hearing loss, you don't, you find like it is a disability which cannot be helped. And so many people are not looking for help, towards how best they can be helped, in terms of the hearing. Now, what we do at Incasia is that our specialist in hearing, will just do the test. Now, once you assess this client and assess this patient, is that you can get to know how severe the hearing loss is. You know, from mild, moderate, moderately severe, severe, to an extent of profound. You know, that's the worst case scenario. Okay. Now, from that point is that you can be able to choose from the hearing test what kind of a device you want to use to help this client. Okay. Now they range, from the smallest fitting hearing aid to what you have commonly seen fits behind the ear, and that's what people have come to know as a hearing aid. But being seen with a hearing aid back on your ear, it's more or less of you don't find it so comfortable. But then there's some hearing aids that can fit completely inside the ear and can be able to help.
Okay.
So people should seek help in any case they realize that or their relatives or people they stay with in the house, or sometimes you find that you have to increase the volume of a television. You should seek help, and this can be assisted.
Okay.
Yes.
We are looking at the animation, of course, of what happens inside your ear in terms of your eardrum and in terms of the noise waves that are required, of course, for you to hear. It is a very intricate, the ear and the eardrum is a very, very intricate organ. Let's talk a little bit, of course, about 3 different groups. Let's talk about young children who sometimes are actually born with hearing loss. Let's talk about adults, and let's talk about senior citizens. For children specifically who have hearing loss and babies, it's very difficult for parents to even gauge whether or not this child can hear. Tell us a little bit about some of the cases that you've dealt with when it comes to young people.
See, this is what happens. Hearing loss can be congenital, can be noise-induced, and also can be associated with age-related. Okay. In those 3 points, I've talked of children, young people, and also in elderly. This is what happens is that hearing loss can be congenital. That means most likely somebody was born with it, okay? And then sometimes it takes some years when to diagnose this problem. Okay. Because there's a myth outside there. You hear that people saying, boys are late, the grandfather or the father was a stammerer, or it took time for them to speak. But the moment you find that your child is not as par with the milestone of their age mates, you'll have to take some interest. Or even a parent is the first doctor to diagnose some of these cases, because of course you keep on interacting with this baby in daily life. Okay. Now once you've done that, you realize somehow is that this is a problem. Yeah. Okay. Even if you're not very sure, it's always good to seek some help. Go to the GP, go to your family doctor. Just explain yourself how you have seen this child behaving for the last maybe 1 year or 2 years. Then from there, the doctor will refer you for the most comprehensive audiometry test that can be done to assess the children. Okay. The test that is used for babies is not the same as used for the adults. Okay. In our center, we have got the state-of-the-art equipment that can be able to diagnose even a newly born child. Okay, so it's very easy to diagnose it, but people they're taking time for it to be known. The child has a problem and to seek help. Okay. Now, if the delay is there, I mean, you'll find the child has got a delayed speech. They say if you don't hear, you cannot speak a word, because speech is more of a repetitive thing of what you've heard. Okay. But unless now you're learning a new language. Now, in young adults or the youth, is that we have a problem here, because nowadays you find the smartphones, they're coming with the stereos, earbuds. Exactly. Okay, it's good, yes. We use them when you're driving, but you have to use it in a very manageable volume. This is what happens, that when you find a young person using headphones, they are blasting the volume up there. In fact, if you're driving by them and try to hoot, they won't hear. Right. That means this person is exposed to many dangers, leave alone causing the hearing loss. Is exposed to being knocked down, unfortunately, or is just not aware of what is happening around him. Okay. And that's the most important thing, that you should be aware of what is happening around you. Even if there's a blast behind you, you cannot even know, because the volume in your earbuds is too high. You can use them, yes. I'm not saying that you cannot use them. You can use them, but use them in a manageable volume. Okay. Manageable volume means that when somebody talks to you, you can talk in a conversation while you're having, the earbuds. Or you can speak to somebody at arm length when you're having the earbuds and have a meaningful conversation.
Okay,
yes.
We'll talk about, of course, levels of that and what to avoid in order to keep your hearing at above average. That's what we'd like, isn't it? Okay, but before we do that, we have a caller on the line. His name is Boniface. Good morning. What has happened? Boniface, hang up. Boniface, please call us back. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like you to contribute to this conversation. Our numbers are right there on the screen, okay? Yes, so talking, of course, about volume levels and talking about where it should be. Should you put your volume level of your TV set, of your phone, of your headphones, of your music in your car, in your home? At what level should the volume be at? Should it be always at an average level of what, or should it be set according to how you can hear?
See, if you say you set it according to how you can hear,
yeah.
Let's say somebody got a hearing loss. Now, if maybe a relative or somebody just close to you comes into the room, you find that the volume is too much. Now, what will happen is that this person will tell you, look here, this volume is too much and we cannot be able. This is noise. It's not, something that you can concentrate on. Now, manageable volume means, it's not too loud and it's not too low. Mm-hmm. For instance, it will depend. Now, when you're using the, television in the house, yeah. I won't say, volume 10 is okay or volume 15 is okay, because the size of your living room also depends.
Right, of course, the size of the speakers.
Yes, the size of the speaker. You have the surroundings, things like that will also determine that.
So it is, of course, very individual based on your surroundings and your environment.
Yes.
Okay, we have Beatrice on the line. Good morning.
Morning, Kobe.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
I can hear you very clearly.
Okay.
All right, you have a question or comment, darling?
Kwanza acha nisalimie daktari.
Salimia Richard hapa.
Nimesalimika sana.
Okay.
All right, you have a question or comment?
Yes, of course. Niko na shida moja. Masikio yangu moja inakuanga na shida, like kuna kitu usanduko ndani. Nimeenda kwa daktari. Akanipatia dawa inaitwa Probeta N.
Okay.
Nimekuwa nikiweka lakini hakuna change.
I mean, after umechukua dawa bado hiyo masikio haisikii?
Kuna hiyo sound, that sound, funny sound like kuna kitu ndani.
Oh, really?
But
okay.
There's nothing. Hakuna.
All right.
Na hakuna discharge yoyote, ni hiyo tu sound peke yake.
Can you describe the sound?
Yokuja sauti ikiwa kubwa, maybe ya radio hivi.
Unasikia kelele ndani? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Pole sana, but don't worry.
Thanks, Kobe.
You're welcome, Beatrice. Don't worry. You're gonna get some help. What can you say to that? She hears something in her ear, and it only happens specifically when there's something loud going on.
The thing is that somebody should just look into her ear first to see whether there is something, physically you can see. Okay. The next stage she can do is that either a general practitioner or family doctor or a physician can just advise her the next thing best to do. See, some of the commonest things that you find is that in hearing and hearing loss is that you find people describing some sound. Some will say it's top of the head, some say be specific coming from the left, some other will say coming from the right ear. Okay, some ringing sound. Some people will describe it as ocean-like sound. Okay. Some people will describe it as like a cricket buzzing, and they'll describe it in being serious on some specific situation. Some will say at night I hear my ears are ringing. Okay, that should be assessed audiologically speaking. Okay.
So any sort of ringing is not normal?
It may be caused by by mere having wax in the ear. Okay. It may be caused by having infection, or to an extent maybe cause of hearing loss. So it should be diagnosed. We have ENT doctor in our office, and you can always come and be seen.
Okay.
Yes.
Guys, we are of course going to put the contacts of Richard and his firm on our social media platforms so that you guys can get in touch and see a specialist. It's really, really important. We're going to break down, of course, some of the misconceptions that are out there as well. Before we do, we have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Hello.
Sasa Mary.
Poa sana.
Washa TV.
Oh, sawa sawa.
Najisikia huko.
Morning. Poa sana.
All right.
Hello.
Hi Mary. Sema.
Niko na mtoto.
Okay.
Ako na hearing loss ako 10 years.
Okay.
Tulidiscover akiwa na 5 years and akapatiwa hearing aids. Now the problem is hearing aids akoperate kutumia.
Oh, ye mwenyewe anakataa?
Anakataa. So right now tunaona bado daktari mwingine because tulikuwa tumeambiwa ni autistic but tukaenda for the test ikawa si autistic.
Okay.
Sasa those hearing aids aja cooperate. That doctor akasema afanywe cochlear implant. The test sasa tumefanya wanasema the loss I need cochlear implant. So nataka ni advice what to do.
Okay. So the child has 10 years old has rejected the aid. She doesn't know what to do, and the doctor says that that's pretty much the only option that he has. What do you do in that kind of situation, Richard?
I would like to know which kind of tests they were done. You know,
it would be very specific.
To be
course.
very specific,
yeah.
also, so that it can be seen the levels of the loss. Yes, cochlear implants works, and those are for the doctors, the ENT surgeons, to talk more about that.
Okay.
Okay. But then again, it also depends the correct fitting that was done. You know, whether the real measurement of the ear was done correctly, and also how the fitting. Because when you're doing the hearing aid, is that you have to take a mode or what you call an impression of the ear, so that you can measure exactly the canal size.
Okay. And
then from doing that, you make a mode. Then the mode is a permanent thing, not permanently in the body, but it's permanent. You know, put it in the ear. That more or less anchors the hearing aid to direct the sound inside the ear.
Okay.
So that one, it will be seen. It will be interesting to see how it was done. Another thing is that there's some few you know, holders we hang just behind the ear and attach it.
You brought some with you.
Yes, yes,
if we could just take a look at that, there. You see, so the holder you're saying is. That's on camera.
Originally
okay.
from the hearing aids, when they're coming from the manufacturer.
Okay, let me
come
hold
like
that for
this,
you.
yes.
Okay, so this is how it comes from the manufacturer.
Okay.
Let me just hold that up so you guys can see.
Now that's how it comes from the manufacturer.
Okay.
Now what you see on top here is called a tone hook.
Okay.
And then from the tone hook, you need to connect the impression.
The impression is now what hangs.
The mode. The
okay.
mode. The mode is a custom-made item,
okay.
or rather, it can be either in acrylic or in soft mode.
Okay.
Okay. Or soft acrylic, that is. Now, once that is done, the child should at least hear something. And you see, when somebody has not heard for a very long period of time, and then you expose them to some noise, they feel, you know, there's something that is around me, and they get keen to learn what exactly is happening around them.
For her particularly,
yes.
for Mary's son,
yes.
is perhaps the issue psychological for the young boy, or is it an issue of discomfort in your own opinion? And I know that's kind of a shot in the dark, but what do you think?
I won't give a definite answer because
okay.
We were not the people.
Meet him. Yeah,
we are not the people who assessed the boy.
Okay.
See, there have to be interaction, and as you're interacting with the boy, our doctors would just give their final diagnosis and see what exactly is it. But for now, advice, you know, they can go back to where they purchased the hearing aid.
Okay.
Let them get reassessed again. You know that you know, the parent, as I said, the parent is the first doctor towards the health care of the child.
Okay.
So let them go back and, you know, let's have a reevaluation on exactly what is happening.
Okay.
So even where we are, we advise after the first fitting, you know, just don't go away. We have started a relationship with you, and let's walk along this path so that you can see how this person is benefiting.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, so we will, of course, talk about other forms of treatment, and you'll take us through some of these hearing aids,
yes,
but
yes.
we have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, how are you, Rose?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. You have a question or comment, love?
I have a question to the doctor.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Endelea, please. Go ahead, Rose. We can hear you.
Nataka kuuliza. Mimi nimekuwa na shida ya sikio kutoka 2006.
Okay.
Niligonjeka, nikasikia tu kulala, kwenda kama naenda na upande, alafu baadaye nikagonjeka nikiwa town.
Okay.
Nikaenda hospitali na nikaambiwa ni kama eardrum yangu ilikuwa na shida, ilikuwa karibu collapse.
Oh wow, pole.
Lakini nilitibiwa, I got back to normalcy. Lakini hiyo sikio nasikia inaenda ikizimika polepole. To an extent, hiyo ni moja tu ya right hand.
Okay.
Hiyo sasa unaweza niongelesha ukiwa hiyo pande ya right na sikusikii na I'm forced to turn to the left to listen to you.
Oh wow, so it's gotten worse over the years?
Yeah.
Okay, and have you been to a doctor?
I was in the hospital sometimes back, about a year ago. And I was told there was no problem, he could not see anything, there is no work, he doesn't see anything wrong with it.
Okay.
So I'm wondering what could be the problem.
Pole sana, Rose.
And how I can get to the doctor.
Okay, okay. Thank you for your call and thank you for sharing your story. Is there, before you even talk to Rose, is there an issue here of misdiagnosis? Because it really seems like it's very difficult for specialists to get to, perhaps in Rose's case, to get to the crux of the issue. What do you think?
There might be an issue of misdiagnosis, I agree, just like any other cases when they're extreme. But this is what happens, okay? Like in the case of Rose, sorry about the experience she's having, is that she'll need to be assessed and somebody at least to look into that eardrum. You know, like in our office, we've got wireless, what we call wireless otoscopy, where, you know, a doctor will just use, you know, a small equipment, the size of let's say size of a mobile phone, to check into a ear, and then it is translated on the screen, that 32 inches screen. So from that, the doctor and the patient will be able to see how health the ear canal is, the eardrum looks like, or there is wax to be cleaned.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if there's none of that case, and still this problem is persisting, they will refer them for some testing.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe to check the middle ear function, maybe to check how the hearing looks like, and then if it's diagnosed one of those cases, if there's middle ear complications, the ENT doctors will take off that. If there's the hearing loss, the case is thrown to our side, and then you know, we do the comprehensive fitting of a hearing aid, and that person will be able to enjoy the sounds.
Because in her case, she probably needs a hearing aid if this has been ongoing for about 10 years, and she can't completely hear from the right ear. Is the one thing that she probably needs is a hearing aid?
Of course, we need to do some testing.
You have to assess her.
I will not give the
very
final
tough,
diagnosis.
Very tough questions here. Yeah,
I will give the final diagnosis because, you know, we have to see. We have to
Okay.
attend to Rose and see what exactly is happening to her, and then we'll be advised.
Okay.
Some of these things can be as mild as just having a mere middle ear, some complications, and they
Okay.
can be sorted out.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll, of course, talk about that treatment. Before we do, we have another caller, very popular discussion, of course. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Julius.
Hi to you.
Habari ya banana?
Iko salama sana.
Asante kwa kupiga. Uko na swali?
Yes, niko na swali.
Go ahead.
Niko na mtoto 10 years old. Na shida yake kusikia inakuwa ni shida, unless akuwa amekuface.
Okay.
Sasa wakati amekuangalia ndio pengine mtasikizana mzuri, lakini naona dudu yake sikio inakuwa ni kama ndogo, na kuna wakati ilikuwa imetoka uzaa.
Okay.
So kumpeleka hospitali nikapatiwa dawa zingine hapo naitwa Chromex.
Okay.
Na ikaisha hiyo uzaa.
Okay.
But on side of hearing inakuwa ni shida kwake. So unless wakati mmeangaliana na yeye ndio huwa anasikia mzuri. So niko na hiyo shida.
Okay.
Daktari anaweza nisaidia.
Asante sana, Julius. Of course, I'm sure that this is another case where you probably have to assess the young man.
It has to be assessed.
He has to be assessed. Okay.
But see, he said that the child will hear when looking at, you know, when they are face to face. Basically, we may not call it hearing because, I mean, hearing, you should hear even when you're not looking at the person's face.
Exactly.
So more or less, this is lip reading. Of course, because you know the language. You can hear a little bit of the sound, and you can check the movement of the lips. So adding all those things, you'll be able to hear while you're facing one another.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's pretty much basic what he's doing. That's his default. But he has to look at you in order to really tell what the dad is saying.
Yes, the child is lip reading.
Okay.
Yes.
So that child and many of the callers who've called actually need to be checked and to go through tests.
It's basically a comprehensive audiological test that is needed.
You've mentioned something that piqued my interest, wax buildup. Of course, a lot of us actually have wax in our ears. Most of us use those Q-tips. Some people use pens. Most of us use those Q-tips to clean that out. And I've read somewhere, according to research, that this is very, very bad for your ears. And it's also quite damaging. Tell us a little bit about wax and the buildup and what you're supposed to do with it. And especially when it's extreme, in the case of that young man.
You must have read it from my blog. Because I'm very passionate about the topic.
Okay.
I mean, even the Q-tips, they are written carefully. It is not supposed to be used.
Really?
Yes, just check in the supermarket.
Okay.
I won't mention brands, but there are people was
We're
saying,
not supposed to be putting anything in our ear?
I mean, no.
Okay.
You know, basically what I say is that the smallest part that is supposed to go in your ear, it's your elbow. Of course, that is impossible.
Right.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
But, you know, earwax is not supposed to be, you know, removed by Q-tips. Okay? If it got to be removed, let it be removed by a professional.
Is it okay just to leave your ears with a whole bunch of wax? Is that what you're saying? Just leave it?
No. The best thing you can do. The best thing you can do.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is that just, you know, when you're bathing, we use a bathing towels.
Okay.
You know, just wipe around where your finger can reach.
Okay.
That's good enough.
Okay.
You're not supposed to make it spotlessly clean.
Okay.
Reason being, you know, wax also helps in trapping dust and some microorganisms that can cause infection in the ear canal.
Okay.
So that's why you find the wax is brown.
What causes wax buildup?
One, using Q-tips.
Really?
Because what you do is that when you're using the Q-tips, you push it a little bit. You'll feel satisfied. It comes in brown color.
Yeah.
You feel, you know, I'm doing some good job here. But
I like that.
but basically what you're doing, you're pushing it a little bit further. And, you know, according to, I mean, by the time of pushing it, you know, by doing so, it accumulates little by little by little. And then you find that you're completely blocked up. People say, you know, I cannot hear.
Wow.
By looking at it, you see that there's so much wax has built up, and our specialist can do a good job by cleaning it.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So remember, guys, that we will, of course, keep you in touch with his great specialists and, of course, his firm, who are doing a fantastic job. And a lot of people actually do need to get, a lot of us just need to get tested. It's important that you get tested, you get your child tested, even though there's not a problem. But we have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Habari yako, Phyllis?
Mzuri, habari yako?
Mzuri sana, habari ya Bungoma?
Poa.
Okay, uko na swali tafadhali?
Nilikuwa na swali. Lakini nilitaka kusalamia daktari. Habari ya daktari?
Mzuri sana, habari yako?
Mzuri.
Okay, go ahead.
Sijui anatibu tu nini masikio peke yake ama na shida ingine?
Uko na shida gani, Phyllis?
Nilikuwa na shida ya sikio.
Okay.
Na kifua pia.
Oi, pole sana. Pole. Umeenda kwa daktari?
Nilienda kwa daktari nikapigwa, lakini sioni tofauti.
Oi, pole sana. Masikio ni nini?
Masikio? Yani inanguruma tu.
Iko na hiyo sound ya ringing sound, eh? Moja ama zote mbili?
Ni moja.
Okay. Pole sana. I mean, this is a big issue for many people, from what I can see.
Yes. And basically what I say is that when you fight, the world is becoming quieter on your side. When you fight, that there's some unusual sounds you're hearing. When you fight, you know, your spouse, or your children, or some people close to you, I mean, tell you, now I think the volume you're using it it's very loud in the house. It's time to seek some help. Okay. Yeah, you know, it is important to have this hearing check, because sometimes you'll find even people they're not aware of it. You find yourself, maybe you have resorted to talking softly, right, or you're talking loudly.
Yeah, guys will shout until...
Then you shout, yeah.
Okay.
Those are very careful, will speak softly, okay, because they don't know how loud they are. We regulate how loud we are talking by first hearing ourselves. So if you find that there's some complaints in where you live, your workplace, the people you rate with day in, day out, you yourself, you're hearing some sounds, it's coming from the ear. Some people will say top ear. It's a matter of seeking help.
Okay.
Like for her, it's more or less of what you talked about. Ringing sound, which should be assessed. Can be just, as I said earlier, can be just wax buildup, or to an extent of hearing loss.
I think the conclusion that I'm hearing here is that it's not just about seeing a general practitioner. No, you need to see a specialist.
Yes, yes.
And a lot of the people who've called in for their loved ones and for themselves actually need to get a specialist to check them out.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's a pity that you're not in every county, because I think that there's definitely a need. As we wind up, you've come with a few hearing aids here. At what point does one actually need a hearing aid? And is it at the extreme level? And can you get treated so that you can avoid having a hearing aid?
At extent, first of all, we have a plan of expansion. If you check on our website, on the clinics, we are more or less planning to expand in each and every county.
Okay, great.
Yeah, in the website, just go to the clinic and you see that we have got a plan to expand to each and every county. It's coming soon, but we'll be launching it soon.
Okay.
But now, in terms of when you need a hearing aid, it's when you have been diagnosed with a hearing loss. Okay. As I said earlier, is that hearing loss can be mild. Hearing loss can be moderate.
Okay.
Moderately severe, severe or profound. Okay. Now, to assist using a hearing aid, it will depend how the diagnosis was done. For the mild hearing loss, we use more of small hearing aids. One of these smallest hearing aids.
Okay, I'm gonna hold that up. Okay.
They fit completely inside the canal.
Okay.
This hearing aid can fit up to the level of moderate to severe. So the moment you're seeking help on this hearing loss issue, the degree of the hearing loss determines the size of the hearing aid that you need. Okay. Now they go on increasing by the size. See, we can also we also make them in different color shades. Okay. You see, like for me, I don't go for this one. Okay, because it would be conspicuous.
Yes.
Now, so we say hearing aid should be cosmetically.
It's so small, yeah.
Yes, it's very small, and it fits completely inside the ear.
Yes.
And they are cosmetic appealing, so no one will see it.
Yes.
Now, some of these hearing aids, depending on the level of your activity, level of activity.
Yes.
You see, you need to have an advanced or just a basic hearing aid. Now, this is what happens. These hearing aids, once you put them in your ear, see, they don't have controls.
Yes.
But sometimes you'll need controls. They're coming with, applications that you can basically use them on your phone,
really?
your iPad.
So you can control your hearing from your phone?
Yes, yes, yes. And also, you're giving a presentation and you are having a hearing loss, you're having hearing aid in your ear, you can just adjust it using your iPad if you're giving it on a presentation on iPad. Smartphone also, it doesn't depend what kind of the size of the smartphone.
Okay.
Even a basic smartphone. So long as is an Android or an iPhone, it will work on this hearing aids.
Okay.
And now you can regulate. So you don't have to, to adjust anything to your ear.
Okay.
Now, for the most severe cases, you'll find hearing aids that are a bit big.
Yes.
For most severe cases and profound levels.
Okay.
Also, for the babies, we don't use the small ones because their ear canal is very tiny.
Yeah.
And to get a nice impression to make such a kind of a shell, it proves to be difficult. So for the first few years, they'll have to use the behind the ear.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. It's such a big conversation. We've run out of time. Where are you located, Richard?
We are located at Fifth Avenue Suites, opposite traffic headquarters along Gong Road.
Okay.
Yes.
All
Your
right.
second floor.
Second floor.
Yes.
We will, guys, connect you, of course, to the clinic where you can go and get your hearing tested, and of course give you the information wherever you are. If you're outside of Nairobi,